The Hypnos Raid has been out for a few days now, and I wanted to make a video about some of my success in completing the fight. More specifically, I want to talk about the Shapeshift Prep strategy, which has gained some popularity, and then I also want to cover why I think Udin is a fantastic unit when using the strategy. I also cover some general tips at the end as well. So what exactly is the Shapeshift Prep Raid strategy? Essentially, it revolves around getting your dragon transformation faster, or even have one charge ready to go at the very start of the fight. The idea revolves around the Shapeshift Prep skill, which can be found on 3 Wyrmprints listed here. First off, Shapeshift Prep fills the dragon gauge by a certain amount at the start of the quest. On the left is Dragon Arcanum, which is a farmable Wyrmprint and can be acquired frequently just by playing certain missions. Normally it just grants 5% to the dragon gauge, but if you unbind it, it goes up to 8%. Dragon Arcanum is very easy to unbind, and you might find you have a ton of copies laying around. If you don't have the other 2 Wyrmprints, then I highly recommend you fully unbind Dragon Arcanum. Next up is Dragon's Nest, which is a 3-star Wyrmprint that I believe is only available from summoning. Dragon's Nest is slightly better than Dragon Arcanum, starting at 8% by default, and if you can manage to fully unbind it, it goes up to 10%. Even if you can't fully unbind this Wyrmprint, it may still be better to use than a fully unbinded Dragon Arcanum. Third is King's Countenance, which is a 4-star summonal Wyrmprint. It should be the rarest of the bunch, but it also grants a default 8% that then goes up to 10% when fully unbound. It also has some curse resistance too, although that's not important for this strategy. I think it's better to use the higher rarity Wyrmprints if you got them, so use King's Countenance first, then use Dragon's Nest, and last Dragon Arcanum, which ideally is fully unbounded too. Feel free to level them up too, but the main reason we are using these are for the Shapeshift Prep ability. Knowing what Shapeshift Prep does, you also should know that it can stack. What I mean is that if more than one unit is using a Wyrmprint with Shapeshift Prep, then you get more dragon gauge at the start of the fight. The strategy is to give your 3 AI controlled units these Wyrmprints. You may sacrifice a bit of HP and strength on them, but the increase to the dragon gauge is very noticeable. For example, using 3 Dragon Arcanums fully unbinded will give you a total of 24% starting dragon gauge. Now, the true power of this strategy relies in having your raid teammates also using the Shapeshift Prep Wyrmprints. The Shapeshift Prep effect will stack with the other 3 players and their AI units too. If you had a total of 6 units on the battlefield with 8% Shapeshift Prep, then you would start the fight with 48% dragon gauge, and you only need 50% to actually transform. So you see, if most of the lobby is doing this, then you can definitely have your dragon transformation ready to use at the very start of the fight. The dragon form does a ton of damage, so this can help you destroy boss parts easier and complete the battle faster in general. This strategy was discovered by the community during the last raid event, but I wasn't able to put it into effect back then. For this raid, I can definitely say that the fight gets much easier and more consistent when using this strategy. I know word has kind of spread around about using Shapeshift Prep, and in the expert and special difficulties, I do run into other players employing this tactic. Again, it gets more effective the more people that use it, so if you have friends you can play with and can coordinate with, then this is super easy to set up. It can be hit or miss in public lobbies, but I find that even if one other person is using these Wyrmprints, it does make a difference. So where does Euden fit in with this strategy? Well, first off, he is our free fire unit, and he is quite serviceable if you don't have a ton of fire units. Obviously, we want a fire unit for this Wind Raid boss. Second, since he is a sword unit, he comes with the Dragon Haste co-ability, which increases the fill rate of the dragon gauge. I don't believe this affects Shapeshift Prep, but it just makes it slightly faster to fill up the gauge throughout the fight. Third, and most importantly, Udin has Dragon Claws 1 and 2 as a skill. Dragon Claws increases Udin's strength for the remainder of the quest every time he shapeshifts, up to a cap of 3 times. So you see, by using the Shapeshift Prep strategy to get a head start on our dragon gauge, Udin can get a strength boost that lasts throughout the whole fight. If you have Dragon Claws 2, then the first time Udin transforms, he will get a 5% strength boost. The second time, he will get a 13% boost, and for the third time, he will have a total of a 25% strength boost, which is just amazing. Seriously, if you have enough Shapeshift Prep skills, you can easily transform 3 or more times during this fight. Sometimes I can transform immediately as the fight starts and get a super early head start on the 3 transformations. Here are some additional tips if you want to use this strategy. First off, since we are heavily focusing on boosting Udin's strength, definitely give him a fire dragon that also increases his strength by a percentage. If you got any 5-star dragons like Agni or Cerberus, then they are the obvious choices. Ifrit, Pele, and Brunhilde are also decent choices too. Now, while we discuss stacking the Shapeshift Prep Wyrmprints, I don't think you want to give them to Udin or just your lead unit that you're controlling. I think giving them the event Wyrmprint called Better Together is worth more because it has that 30 or 35% damage boost to Hypnos, the raid boss. It comes with some other benefits too, but passing up on that 30% extra damage is just crazy. Now in terms of combat, sword users have a fantastic combo. It is 1 or 2 basic attacks chained into a force strike repeated over and over. This is very easy to execute and doesn't put your unit in the air. In my experience, I really like this combo and it seems to build up skill points pretty fast too. Since you are using more force strikes, you should also be taking down the boss's overdrive bar faster. Getting the boss to the break state lets you deal a ton of damage, and I would also say you should try to keep a dragon transformation ready when Hypnos becomes vulnerable. That's all I wanted to share for this video. I know some of you probably knew about the Shapeshift Prep tactic, but I would also like to help those who haven't heard about it yet. Also, if you're still unfamiliar with the boss Hypnos, then 100% the first thing you want to do is try to break his right hand. Doing so will actually prevent him from spamming totally undodgeable purple attacks, and there will be a safe space around him when he does. Hopefully this video helps some of you out. If you wondered why people were using those 3 Wyrmprints on their AI units, then I hope you understand now. It doesn't guarantee victory by any means, but it does make the battles go by faster, and to me it does make the fight much more consistent. Thanks for watching and good luck farming for all the rewards. I'll see you guys in the next video.